Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome back to Pathologic, the Bachelor campaign part 2. When we last left off, we just got a quick introduction to the game and dealt with the two guys hanging out by the fire in the garden. And now we're heading off to meet Simon Kane and discover a little bit more about the mystery of the reason why the Bachelor came to the town. We have the beautiful, ominous looking cathedral and the polyhedron, which will become more clear what that is as we get closer to completing the game. Let's see what the judge has to say.
Few people know death. We only endure it, usually from determination, and even from stupidity and custom.
Most venerable doctor, it is with great impatience that we have been expecting you. You need not delve into the minutiae of our business with us, since our family is well acquainted with your scholarly work. We are also quite aware of the difficulties you are experiencing, and well prepared to do our utmost to support you. It hurts me all the more to be the one to inform you that Simon, my consanguineous brother, the creator, keeper, and embodiment of all that surrounds us, has been murdered. I can't believe it. It cannot be. My brother was murdered last night, under the strangest of circumstances, but, for all the mystery surrounding his death, I'd rather eschew the notion that his departure was connected with whoever had visited Simon that evening. The visitor is a man of laudable rectitude, and an old friend of our family. There are witnesses to testify that he and Simon did nothing but converse. Who is the visitor? Someone you know quite well. The man whom my brother saw last night was your colleague, Isidore Boulard. Was he not the very person to advise you to come here as well? I would have told you that I had been brought here by the hand of fate not so long ago, the naive man that I was. Isidore has done more than he thinks. I have a lingering feeling that time itself is using uncontestable powers to further its own intentions. What do you think? I'm no fatalist. It could be that my mind is clouded by sorrow, but I cannot escape the feeling that your arrival was no coincidence. Your choice was made for you, my dear doctor. Let us not blame fate for it. Isidore wrote to you without making us aware. He took a risk that could have displeased our family. Really? Even though we were uncertain of when you would arrive, my brother was looking forward to meeting you. The tragedy may have been a consequence of the actions he took in preparation for your arrival. Someone has taken a powerful piece from the chessboard, a piece upon which your position here depended. It is doubly regrettable that Simon was playing on our side. So you presume the Queen knew of the blow and sacrificed itself for a pawn? But why? To grant you victory over death? Was it not your ultimate aspiration? To help you, Simon seems to have played a very dangerous game with fate itself. He went out of his way to provide you with a body of evidence. If this is indeed so, I feel obliged. Do you want to help us, Doctor? Find the murderer for us. My brother Victor, who is in the wing next door, would share some of his thoughts on the matter. Help us, and the reward will not disappoint you. Indeed, it seems there are too many coincidences. Your brother's murder can just as well be called the murder of Bachelor Dankovsky. I will help you in every way I can. I am convinced that if there is anyone at all that can help us solve this puzzle, then it is you. This mission calls for someone as astute and inventive as yourself. If Isidore was an instrument of fate, then Simon's murder is a message that fate intended for you personally. Do not think I am inclined to blame you for that. I am not. How do you plan to look for the murderer? We will take our own measures. The only thing I expect from you is to be yourself. Do only what you think is required. Whatever you find out, whatever you do, whatever your day turns into, everything is a clue to the solution of this puzzle. I repeat, everything that is happening here is happening on your account. You have my sympathy, Judge. And now we shall go talk to Victor. This is where Victor lives, the youngest of the three Kane brothers. He can tell me more about Simon's manner of death. There's a bit of a blow for the poor Bachelor, coming here to try and defeat death, and Simon being a man whose life had gone on a lot longer than humanly possible. And as the Bachelor arrives, Simon is killed. Coincidence? Probably not. Let's see what Victor has to say.
If we conquer our passions, it is more from their weakness than from our strength.
The famous Dr. Dankovsky. Your arrival is a great honor for us. Victor Kane, at your service. Daniil Dankovsky, at yours. I foresee that the things have become ordinary for us will probably make you feel uncomfortable and disturbed. I would like to compensate for that impression. You know, our small community has fallen out of the loop. Time leaves us behind. What do you mean? I mean the traditions. Games that we play with passion will most likely be of no interest to you. The people you meet here may seem eccentric, naive, or even somewhat deranged. Please, take it easy on us. Don't judge us too strictly. I hope we will be able to work in the atmosphere of mutual trust.
I fear that Simon's death is a symbolic event.
How can I help you? Georgi has told me everything, which is to say he has told me very little, but it was enough to astound me. He maintains that you can provide a more detailed account. So you have agreed to help us? I have. May I ask why? The killer's goals seem to align astonishingly well with the goals of those who have been waging war against my work for years. I am prepared to answer any questions you may have. When was Simon last seen? He sent Isidore home, then an hour later he came to this hall to see us. He announced his plans to withdraw to the Focus and received no one. He told us not to approach the Focus and to fast for a week, partaking of neither meat nor water. Then, in the morning, he was found dead. How was he found? The servants discovering him in the morning. The room had been ransacked. Everything that was breakable had been broken. His disfigured, contorted body bore signs of terrible suffering. His neck was twisted, his spine broken, I think. No one has touched the body. It is currently inside the Focus and will remain there for the prescribed amount of time. What's this Focus place? It's hard to explain. It's a study, if you will. An extraordinarily spacious, creative laboratory. Almost perfectly sealed off, except for the door that was visible at all times, metaphorically speaking. I don't understand. It's like an equation, or a mirror puzzle. Anyway, the murderer could not have been hiding there. Take my word for it. Well, Simon did get in there somehow. He could perform far more impressive feats. There's a reason why the whole town revered him. Tell me honestly, dear Victor, did Simon exist at all? Bravo, Doctor! There is indeed a spark of genius to you. Alas, yes, he did. Alas. It's not that I would benefit from his death. Alas, for that word be too simple an explanation. Simon well and truly did exist. That is exactly what's left everyone in disarray. It was so hard for them to accept his existence that the thought of his demise is now driving them mad. Fair enough. What do you want from me then? Just take a look around, trust your intuition, do whatever you like, speak to whoever you feel the need to. Look for the murderer, Doctor, and you will find them. Keep looking till the last breath. I'm sure your rational thinking will help you. So, Isidore is the only lead. How can I find him? I'll show you, but you must be careful. Simon's murderer, whoever they are, could not be an ordinary person. I can't imagine them even being a person. I fear it could only be fate wearing the guise of a mysterious monster. I will be careful. This is where Isidore Boulach lives, the man that had brought me to this remote place. He is the last person that saw Simon Kane alive. So things are looking pretty good, status-wise. Let's go meet the infamous Isidore Boulach, the man who summoned us here, and the last man to meet Simon Kane alive. Let's see what some of the townsfolk have to say. Good morals and luck are a great help in managing a small community without resorting to violence. Personal standing can work wonders. What do you mean? I like our town. We're all one big family. But sometimes I get the feeling that we're all controlled by an unseen power, our actions but fiction. It's quite possible. So let's see the best way to go. Up this street, cross the bridge. Up and right, okay. So this is quite a lot of the game is walking from destination to destination, piecing together facts, meeting characters and so on. But you get used to it. I guess you could describe it as a walking simulator. But I found the storyline and gameplay is so intriguing, it's worth it. And generally, you usually have a lot of things to talk about or to kind of pull over in your mind when you're going from place to place. Also, it gives you a great opportunity to rummage through trash cans, which you'll need to do a lot in this game because you'll want to pick up water bottles and so on. So if you're following along with my other videos, you'll know that the Haruspex has arrived in town, Isidore Bulach's son, Artemy. And he's currently in the warehouses. He's just dealt with Notkin and his little gang. And you've also got the Changeling, who's now getting to know the Saburovs. So all three of these characters have their role to play in this coming first act. Anything I could do for you? I'd be much obliged if you help me learn how to get around the town. There's more than one town here. The first one is called the Bull Pit. The second one, the offspring of the project, is the districts. I mean the residential part itself. Not so long ago the town almost dropped anchor across the river, but I wouldn't go so far as to call that part of District 2. It's just the polyhedron. And what's inside of that polyhedron? Nothing really. Children like to play there, I guess, and they say it's perfectly empty, bare as the palm of your hand. What could there be inside such a monstrosity? I find it unbelievable that it's still standing at all. I'd never let my children ever enter the damn thing. Ever. So you've never been there yourself? The kids don't like it when we grown-ups try to visit them in the polyhedron. Not like there's anything special in there. Why would anyone ever want to climb that thing? Alright, by the way, why do you call the town the districts? Well, it just sort of came to be that way. The Gullet and the Guzzle, the Gorkons tributaries, divide the town into three parts. Each of them consists of many separate courtyards, so maybe that's the reason. What are those parts? The lower part, adjacent to the abattoir, is called Earth. The one between the Gullet and the Guzzle we call the Knots, and the triangular promontory between the Guzzle and the Gorkin is the Stoneyard. That's intricate. What about the districts' names? The Stoneyard consists of two districts, the Bridge Square and the Atrium, plus the Mistress's Tomb, of course. Earth has four residential districts, the Skinners, the Tanners, the Hindquarters, and the Crude Sprawl. In the middle is something wrong. I'm just not sure you need any of this. The Knots have 7 districts, the spleen, the marrow, the chine, the backbone, the mouth, the flank, and the gut. I don't suppose I need to go into further details. Surely the Canes will show you around. They are expecting you after all. Much obliged. So there's no harm learning a little bit about the town in itself. We've got a little bit of money, we don't need any of it yet. So for now the town's pretty quiet, you can walk among the districts freely, but as time moves on things will get a little bit more difficult in that regard. The Bachelor's campaign is by far the easiest of the 3 characters. He serves kind of as an introduction to Pathologic, really. My heart is crying for my poor children. How are my dearest doing? Is everything alright? Oh, woman's share is hard. You've got a curious town here. I've never experienced or expected to see something like this in such a remote place. Everyone's tired of endless construction work. We want something quiet. Is there a lot of construction going on? Not a lot, but I cannot shrug away from the feeling that the world is changing all too quickly. The rulers invite architects from the capital, and they turn everything upside down. It's fun for the children, but a torment for us. You have a very tidy little town. I haven't seen something like this for a long time. So you'll see that things in the town are quite different. You've got incredible structures that can't exist according to the laws of nature, like the polyhedron. Built by the Stamatin brothers, who we will get a chance to meet at some point. So you've got the Samuel's mansion from the new bit from the Changeling playthrough. I plan on doing the 3 characters here, and then probably doing Pathologic 2 as well. There's only one character in Pathologic 2 at the minute, and it's kind of the same storyline but retold with much better graphics and much better gameplay mechanics. Let's see. Up and around. If you haven't played either game, I'd actually recommend you start with Pathologic 2. It's got a huge fleshed out campaign for the hard specs, and the developers, Icepick Lodge, are going to add in the Bachelor and the Changeling. I think the Bachelor is next. Just check the bins for some loot. I don't have any empty bottles yet. And here we are, at the home of Isidore Bullock. A foul murder occurred here last night. No unauthorized access allowed. Inspecting the crime scene is strictly forbidden until further notice. Who was killed? Well, you're not a local, sir, so you're unlikely to understand the loss we suffered. Isidore Bullock, a great surgeon, a benefactor to us all, and an all-round skilled doc. An outstanding man, beloved and well respected by us locals. Did it really always have to take the very best? What a foul time to live in. I knew him. I'm a doctor too. Whoever killed our only doc must surely be looking to get us all killed. Isidore could cure anything. He also knew how to make cuts or incisions because he was a warden. He knew his lines alright. Like I said, it all makes sense. Whoever killed Simon took Isidore's life too. And this is merely the beginning. What makes you think the 2 cases are connected? Well, who would have the heart to attack such men? If you'd only asked me yesterday, I'd have told you no one would dare inflict such an ugly wound on this town. But there is someone. It has to be just that, someone. Although it looks fishy, if you ask me, that thing was no man. That's what I think. Explain yourself. See, this murderous deal is all mysterious. There was a talon stuck in the victim's chest. Go ahead and bend your arm at the elbow, good sir. Yeah, like that. There you go. That's how long it was. It broke off. There was dust on the floor, for the deceased had been a renowned step walker. And the dust was all covered in hoof prints and, like, traces of sharp bone, I guess. As if someone was using a walking stick around there. I'm telling you, it's her, the Shabnak Adir, the clay man-eater. I want to inspect the building. We've been assigned to this post by Alexander, the head of the Sabarov family. His house is in decline right now, but it's still powerful and very much respected. For it is they that's been responsible for maintaining worldly order and public safety in the town since olden days. Please kindly address your concerns to him. There's their rod. You can take that road up there and get in to the Cape. As for me, I'm not authorized to let you in. You should have said so from the start. The Rod. The Saberloths have been living here since the town was founded. Once a mighty and powerful clan, it only has 2 persons now, a governor devoid of any real authority, and his dying wife. Oh, what rotten luck for the Bachelor. He's lost his... Oh, what's going on there? He's lost Simon Kane and a colleague, Isidore Bullock. They're burning a woman? Jesus. We got some bullets, so that's always handy. And a gun. No doubt that'll help the Bachelor. So it seems like the townsfolk thought that she was the murderer, maybe? Burning her alive? Or maybe it's a strange steppe culture tradition. Hopefully Savalov can give us some more information. I don't think the Haruspex will be particularly happy when he finds out his dad has been murdered. I know I just checked those, but I'm not sure what the respawn rate is for bins, so it's always worth the risk, I think. So we've already met Alexander, if you've been following the Changeling playthrough. Quite an orderly man. Disciplined, strict.
What has this town turned into? Truly a country of contradictions.
So, I finally get to see you. Yes, you really do look like a messenger of sorrowful times. In any case, welcome to the Rod. Our meeting is quite significant in a way. Facing the changes with open eyes and taking their first blow is my duty. Do you think we're on the verge of an especially unhappy era? No grim events have clouded our existence since last summer. The country has cured its war wounds. Commercial communications have been repaired. Astrologists expect nothing ill. Do you hold astrologists' opinions in high regard? The movement of the planets has an obvious effect on our life. However, I do not think it's humanly possible to gain any profit from that.
They say hitting hard is a good enough start.
So you've come to meet with Simon, haven't you? What can I do for you now? I was actually invited by Isidore, so I came to meet with him first and foremost, but now it turns out that he's been murdered, yes. Looks like the murderer is always one step ahead of you, doesn't it? The same one that took Simon's life too. At least that's the conclusion suggested by the information at my disposal. Same pattern, same signature. So who did it? You wouldn't believe it, his own son. The fellow came back after being away for quite a while. His father had sent him to study surgery when he was but a greenhorn. Quite a lot he has learned, huh? A wandering scholar turned evil to the bone. All of that just to grab the inheritance. Wait, how did you figure that out? So now we know why the Haruspex was getting attacked at the train station, because he's been accused of his father's murder. And Simon Keynes. In all honesty, it's hard to explain to an outsider like you. Do you believe in such a thing as clairvoyance, Bachelor? No. Well, you should get to know my wife then, or better yet, those who have already had opportunities to witness the power of her prophecies. Former doubters first and foremost, rationalists. She's got something to say to you too, by the way. So your wife called out Isidore's son specifically? Not specifically, no, but it all adds up, and the circumstances of Simon's death makes you wonder too. Isidore's son arrived here last night. The timing speaks against him. It even matches the time it takes to get from the Crucible to Isidore's house. What about motive? That's not enough. I'll have to take the investigation into my own hands. Is there anyone who can be of help to me, apart from your wife? There are a few good analysts in our town. There are very few good analysts in our town. Everyone is more or less superstitious here, except for one, Yulia Yuliacheva. Perhaps a most level-headed and reasonable person. The only person to remain skeptical about Katerina's talents too. Without a shadow of a doubt, she has her own picture of events. She always does. Where is Yulia? She came here with an engineering team when the town was being rebuilt. Did logistics, or maybe communications, I'm not sure. They said she's a true expert in her field. Smart, yes, a polymath. Then the team left, but she stayed. She has my respects, but not my fondness. Very well, I'll speak to this Yulia. And she's there just across the bridge.
This Haruspex is trying to prove his innocence. It's a no-go.
Who are the people guarding Isidore's house? Those are volunteer patrolmen. We usually keep around 20 of them, but I've increased the number recently to 150 or so. Really? Why do you need so many? There's unrest in the territory. If I weren't certain that Isidore was being murdered by his son, I would even consider the crime to be politically motivated. Isidore was preparing to take over the kin and become its leader, at least according to the information I have. Your wife again. No, the source is a bit more straightforward this time, and you shouldn't really look down on my wife's talents with such skepticism. Although you'll come around soon, hopefully your lack of faith won't end up being too costly for you. Time is running short. Where does the information come from then? I don't think you're aware of the fact that Isidore came to me last night, just after he had returned, and warned me that there was some ominous events ahead of us. I took that as an unofficial warning about his upcoming takeover. Curious. Thanks for telling me this. So let's go see his wife. So Sabarlov, who runs order in the town, thinks the Haruspecs did it, but it's not a lot of good evidence for that, it seems.
What?
The only way for a duel to end is with the death of one of the fighters. That's what battles are supposed to be. Any conflict that has two sides inevitably turns into a battle of good and evil. A brutal philosophy. I'm not speaking metaphorically or metaphysically. I'm talking about a very particular battle. You are one of the combatants, Bachelor Dankovsky. Do you favor good or evil? I favor winning. Spoken like a true warrior. I truly wish you victory, Bachelor, even though I doubt there can be victory at all in this battle. You're very kind.
Simon, to tame his impertinence, Earth had disgorged a monster from deep within its bowels.
You're a brave man, Bachelor Dankovsky. Why? This fight is very unlikely to end in your favor. Does a clay and bone man-eater leave traces of the kind you've witnessed? It's only a spell, an illusion, just to prefer to see it this way. It makes it easier for them. Fight is too big a word. I'm merely assisting Georgi, in his effort to find the murderer. I'm sorry to break it to you, but you will have to fight to the death. Even if it were a metaphor, the ending is still unambiguous. If you don't find out what happened before nightfall, you will die. How do you know all this? I'm clairvoyant. What's the nature of your visions? This should not be your primary concern at the moment. You should concern yourself with the number of minutes you have left, and that number is dwindling. I don't throw predictions around. Others will tell you how often they have come true. Do heed my words. Fine.
What?
Oh, the torment. I can't bear it. Do you also think Simon Kane's death was unnatural? No, not at all. How could someone who had absorbed all our blood not die? A single man cannot handle that. There are limits to a living being's vitality, and there are limits to the world's patience. Wait, what do you mean by the limits of a living being's vitality? I think I've heard that somewhere before. Simon transformed our town into a single whole, a living being. He was the heart, and we were the blood running through the town's veins. We radiated his light, and that's why we used to shine so brightly. The bound are actually bound to Simon. But who could have killed him? Who's to blame for his death? Even if someone did have something to do with it, is that person worth blaming? Most likely they didn't even realize they were killing someone. Yes, that's how it was. Now I see very clearly. Forgive me, but I must take my leave. So the Bachelor has until nightfall to solve the mystery of Simon Kane's death, or he will die, according to Catalina's predictions. So let's leave it there, and we'll come back to the next episode and see if we can unravel the mystery a little bit more. So take care and have a nice day.